Okay. Bougie chic.
Yeah, you're boho.
Boho.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you
bohemian
go.
chic.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
that's your style. You're like
All
eclectic.
right. Hey, welcome everybody. Good morning. I hope you guys are doing fabulous. So today I have Portia. She is
Hi,
my intern,
everybody.
and she and I'm kind of trying to teach her a little bit of stuff on how to do some of this Facebook stuff. So we're actually going to have a conversation, which is going to be your lesson, and we're going to have a conversation about something that is going to help you guys. So we're going to be talking about perception. Now, yesterday, your lesson was about being an optimist. And so we're going to kind of like take that to another level and talk about perception. And so before we get started on this lesson, the first thing I need to do is kind of go over some, what do you call, like house cleaning stuff, okay? So there's been a few of you guys that are brand new that have been messaging me. I can't find this. I don't know what this. Da, 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 da. Okay, so let's start with go to the video that says 5-day challenge. You want to listen to that because it explains what we're going to be doing and what the rules are. Then you want to go to day 1 and it tells you what you're going to be doing. Then there's an audio that's attached in the text comments. It's also a separate link that's on the page that's called Module 5 Releasing. Okay? You're going to be listening to that 3 times a day. It's 15 minutes. Then the next video that you'll watch is day 1, lesson 1. Okay? And then we're talking about being an optimist in the middle of all this crisis and craziness. Like, take advantage of that. You know, like everybody's going crazy, everybody's losing their mind, everybody's getting depressed, businesses are crashing, businesses are failing. So there's an opportunity out there for you guys to be able to take charge of your life because other people are failing. Why not you succeed? So those people still need happiness, they still need kindness, they still need businesses that are running, okay? So get out there and be the person that takes advantage of all those situations, okay? So that was in the last lesson, okay? So that's the order that we're going to be watching. Today we're going to be talking about perception, and so that'll be day 2, lesson 2, okay? And so let's talk about how the raffle works real quick, and then we'll get started on this. Okay, so every time that you comment in the video, so right now, if you're live watching this and you comment in the video, yes, thank you very much. If you comment in the video and you say something, you get a raffle ticket. So I'm really trying to encourage you guys to talk, okay? So if you offer something that is really valuable, like I say something like I think I said in the opportunist video, I was talking about like how are you going to be an opportunist, and you offer something like that, then you get another ticket. So this is about really being part of a community, doing a lot of love and support, really helping people. And if you're showing that you're doing this, you get another ticket. Okay? And so I'm handing these out as encouragement for you guys to stand up. It's time for the meek to stand up and be strong. So this is your opportunity to do that. Okay? So every time you do something really great, I'm going to throw it out there. I'm also throwing clues to the audios to make sure you're doing it. So if you're listening, you'll know the answer. Sometimes I'll label them differently than what they actually are. So I'll be asking you questions to see whoever gets it. Please do not comment the answer in the comment section. I noticed a few of you guys did that. So because other people are going to start saying the same thing. You noticed everybody said white right after that. Not to say that that's right or wrong. However, what you need to do is message me privately. Okay? All right. So let's see. What else are house cleaning do we need to do? Oh, prizes. Okay, so I'm making t-shirts. I'm making hats. I'm making keychains. I'm making all kinds of goodies for you guys. You're going to get a complete book that's this thick, a workbook that is going to take you through months of reprogramming and changing the way you think. Okay, so you get the workbook. You're also going to get a gift card with sessions with me. That's the most valuable of all. So you should see that as an awesome thing, because how often do you get free sessions with somebody? So that's an awesome thing too. So raffle tickets are going to get that. I do have extra keychains, probably a couple of extra t-shirts, so there are going to be like door prizes and secondary prizes. But this is going to be a big box. It's going to have a bunch of goodies in it. So you guys, I'm super psyched about it. Been having conversations with my mom because she has the ability to make the t-shirts and do all the printing and stuff. So she's super psyched about it because she's calling me every day, you little lady. Oh, Michelle, I found the cutest butterfly. You know, it's just really funny. So we're having a good time, right?
Yeah.
We're just kind of like creating this happy factor for you guys. So, Portia, let's get started.
Sure.
So you guys, this is Portia, and she and I are
Good
gonna.
morning, everyone.
Yeah, we're gonna. This is a little new for her. She's never like done like videos like this, so
I'm a little camera shy.
it's okay. It's okay. Just basically, what you're gonna do is just have a conversation with me, okay? And that's basically what we're gonna do. Don't worry about them, watching. Half the time they log on and they have internet issues or whatever, and then they end up watching the replay. So a lot of times it's not so many people live, and they'll end up. So don't worry about it.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So isn't she pretty? She's like the prettiest girl.
Thank you so
and she's
much.
always got so many creative hairstyles too. I'm like, okay, so I have like 3 hairstyles. I've got curly. I got curly with the top bun, curly with the all bun, hair in a ponytail, straight. And
That's
it.
about 4.
Oh yeah, that's 4. Okay. Yeah, and it's been raining like every day here, so it's like I haven't been able to straighten my hair, so it's been like crazy mess.
Yeah,
So,
it has been.
all right, so let's talk about perception. I'm gonna get closer to you if you don't mind.
Okay.
I'm not hitting on you.
No, you're good.
Okay, so all right, so you're around a lot of people all the time, clients, people, just in general, friends. What do you think is the biggest problem with people and their perceptions? Like, what do you think why is it that altering your perception or looking at things from a different direction is so important? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are, so your perception is limited to the amount of data that you have, right? So you base your perception on the amount of information that you have on any given situation. So then your brain kind of deducts and reasons and does all this good stuff. So you perceive something in your mind, whether it's true or not, right? Because sometimes you may have information from something that happened in the past, but it doesn't mean that this situation now warrants that is similar to what happened in the past. You just know that it's something similar, so your mind just kind of goes in like, oh yeah, we've been through this before, and so this is my perception of that. So I believe that you have to have an open mind to limit your perception on things, because the perception is a mind construct, okay? So when you live in your mind, it can be imaginary, it could be real, and when you draw from fear, it usually is imaginary, right? Anytime you fear something, it's not anything that has happened yet. You're just, coming up with all these thoughts and imaginations about what could happen, all the probabilities statistic-wise. And then you find out when you actually go through the situation that it wasn't anything that you even feared or even close to what you imagined.
Oh my God, that is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. It's
So
like,
that's
why did
what
I
it
put all
is.
that energy and fear into it? You made so many valid points. I kind of look at it like it's a looping pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is you get caught in it like a hamster wheel.
Exactly.
And you're just circling around, and this is your perception, like of how you viewed it. But somebody else who's gone through the exact same thing is not seeing it with that much pain or that much, heartache or whatever.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? I had a client yesterday who came in, and she's gone through some very similar circumstances as I have and my children. Okay. And she was having a full on like straight up breakdown because she's mixed race. And she's half Mexican, like her mother's Mexican and her father's white. And she said that she never really fit in. She wasn't white enough, she wasn't Mexican enough, and she ended up marrying a Mexican guy just so that she would have dark children, just so that they wouldn't have identity problems. And so I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, that's what happened with my kids too. It's like I married a Mexican guy, my kids are half Mexican. It's like, yeah, and it's kind of interesting because I'm looking at it, but my children didn't have that perspective. Okay. And my daughter's all like, somebody said something about Mexicans at school when she was in high school, and she's like, you better shut up, I'm Mexican, you're talking about me. And they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Amanda, we didn't know you're Mexican." And she's like, "Well, I am." You know?
That's right.
Like, and she really wanted to identify with that culture, but now she just doesn't freaking care. She's like, "I'm just Amanda.
Mhm.
Get over it." Like, I think that a lot of times we get so wrapped up in how we perceive things. Like, she just got so wrapped up in how it was affecting her life.
Yeah, and we
That,
cling to certain identities, and when those identities are challenged, that's when we start, fretting or worrying
mhm,
or having this fear that people won't accept us.
right,
Because this is
exactly.
what I identify with. Oh, I'm white, I'm Mexican, I'm black, whatever, right? So you identify with this, and so when you put yourself out there, you're not sure people are going to perceive your identity, and so then you have this
Mm.
fear, and that's
Well,
where it comes from.
I mean, I went through that myself, you
Yeah,
know? I mean, I
exactly.
freaking, like, I was like, everybody in my family's blonde, and I turned out brown hair with curly hair and shit. You know, it's like,
Mhm.
where'd that come from, girl? You
Yeah.
know? You know, it's like mom had an affair. You know, if you knew my mom, you know that's not true, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, what? You know, and so I looked different. I had a big booty. You know, and all Caucasian women don't have big booties. They
Exactly,
don't have the booty, girl.
exactly,
You know, you
exactly.
know, I had a big booty, and you know, it was like I just didn't. I stood out. You know, it was always
Mhm.
like, and Caucasian men didn't want to date me. They
Yeah, so
just
you
didn't.
become self-conscious, right? You become,
Right.
yeah.
I thought something was wrong with me because I didn't look like a cheerleader with big boobs and small butt.
Exactly.
You
And
know.
and you touched on perspective because
Mhm.
perspective is related to your awareness, right?
Mhm.
So let's say your daughter, let's say growing up in the same household, children have a different perspective than what the parent does. So you might have been working multiple jobs, right? And your daughter comes to you now as an adult and says, "Hey, you were never there, and I don't think you cared about me, blah blah blah." In your mind, when you were going through all that, you were just thinking of her, thinking how you want to provide a better life for
Oh my
her,
God, that's so
and all
true.
that good
Yeah.
stuff. But two different awarenesses, right? Because your daughter wasn't aware of everything that you were doing to make her life comfortable. All she
Mhm.
saw was that you weren't there. Versus your awareness was, oh, I'm going to take care of my child no matter what it takes, and if I have to work 5 jobs, I'm going to do that. So it
Oh
is
wow,
really
yeah.
leveled to your awareness when it comes to perspective as
I
well. And
really
don't you
think
think so?
I absolutely do. I think that that's you kind of hit you know a really important thing because I think as parents we tend to always think that we're doing the right thing
Mm-hmm.
and nobody gave us a manual.
No.
You know, I mean nobody gave you a manual. And however, I can tell you that so many of my clients that are parents
Mm-hmm.
fret. I mean, they're fretting all the time. And I can't figure this out. I can't do this. I'm a horrible parent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what ends up happening is the kid ends up growing up, and believe it or not, a lot of times what they do is they become like little parrots, and they mimic
Mm-hmm.
everything you do. Okay. So your perception, believe it or not, it might have been like let's look at it from the opposite perspective is that you may have thought you weren't being a good parent,
Mm-hmm.
but later on your daughter is like sitting here going, "Oh my God, you're always been there for me. You like work so hard for me. You," and that's the kid, and you know you can have one kid that will say, like you did, you were
Mm-hmm.
never there for me. And then as opposed to my daughter, she's like, oh my God, you're like a warrior. You've always, like, you always came through. You always made sure we had birthday presents, Christmas
Mm-hmm.
presents, whatever. You might have been the one suffering, but you always took
Mm-hmm.
that lead. And her perspective was, you're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any bad things to say about you. But
Exactly.
as a parent, you're like looking at, well, I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have done that. And so you want to kind of like chastise yourself, self abuse, you know?
Right, right. You
Right? You
beat
know?
yourself up about it.
Yeah, and say, hey, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. So a lot of times,
Or you may be protecting her. Like I had a friend
yeah.
whose mom would let her hang out with this certain girl in high school, and
Mm-hmm.
she thought her mom was just being mean and not letting her go out and all this other good stuff. Well, that friend wound up pregnant in high school, and her mom was like, saving her, and she didn't see that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But her mom was aware of what this girl was, and so she didn't want her daughter around that.
Oh my God, I used to tell my daughter all the
Mhm.
time, it's like, you can hate me now, and that's okay.
Mhm.
Like,
But the perception was, oh,
like,
my mom
mm-hmm.
doesn't want me to have any fun, or she doesn't want me to go out, or.
Right, exactly. I told my daughter when she was in high school, I was like, you can just go ahead, hate me now. And I'm okay with that
Mhm.
because one day you're going to be super happy that you weren't the teenage girl that got pregnant,
Exactly.
you know? And so and I have conversations about like, look, if you start feeling like you need to do things, then do certain things, but just don't do other things, you know?
Mhm.
I mean, and she's like, oh my God, Mom, I can't believe you're saying this. And I'm like, would you rather me like not talk to you? You know? But, and so now because of that,
Mhm.
her perspective is, I can tell my mom anything. And I kind of like raised her that way. Oops.
Sorry, y'all.
I kind of raised her that way to where she felt that, still to this day, she's kind of like that. She calls me up and we talk about everything. But let's getting on to other things. A lot of times our perspective about ourselves, like self-worth. That's just the issue that I come up with a lot of my clients is self-worth. It's self-worth. So here's the things that I hear the most. Self-worth, fear, self-sabotage, confidence, motivation, lack of purpose. Okay? That's something I think that we should talk about.
But lack of purpose?
Yeah, because the perception of that is that they have to do something like you and I do. Like, oh, I've always wanted to be a life coach. I really have to help somebody. Like that's the perception. But you can have a purpose just being.
But what if you don't have a purpose? What if your purpose is just to be here, just to live?
Right, exactly. That's what I was like.
I mean, why does everybody have to have a purpose? Because your purpose gives you a meaning, and that's what you're looking for.
But it's a perspective that they.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because you feel like it gives you a meaning.
Yeah, it's a perspective that they feel like that their life has more meaning if they do something grandiose.
So you're not just good enough to raise your kids and be happy. You have to go and do this grand mission to make your life so complete. And everybody, you got to think about it. There's over 1 billion point whatever people on Earth, right? If everybody had a purpose, I mean, how crazy would this place be?
Oh my God, that is so true. I didn't even think about that. It'd be like everybody's life coaching the life coaches.
Exactly. I mean, everybody has a role, but your role may be minuscule. And it's still making an impact.
That is so true. It's so important. And that's exactly what I was telling somebody the other day is that your purpose could just be to be a good wife.
A good mother to your kids.
To learn how to love unconditionally.
A teacher or whatever, right? It doesn't have to be this grand life mission that is going to change the world.
Oh my God, yeah. Like you could just go into a library and do readings for children, or something like that.
Help the homeless. I mean, there could be certain things you can do to make you feel good and like, oh, that's a good purpose.
I think it's more about, I think that when people get this drive, this feeling, like it seems like every person that comes to my office says this. I don't know about you, but I hear it all the time. I got to find my purpose. I feel this thing. I feel like I'm better than this. I feel like I've got to be more, I mean, they just get so passionate about it. But I think that
because I believe that it's been so propagandized that people feel like they're nothing without a purpose. And that's not the truth. I mean, you cannot attach your self-worth to your purpose.
Right.
And that's where a lot of people are getting confused at.
What if your purpose is just to learn how to be loving? I mean, because I would say having unconditional love, that's a very rare quality.
It is.
I mean,
and that should be everybody's purpose.
It's like less than 2%, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And I mean, to be able to just accept people and realize, this is people. A lot of times, people get this misunderstood too. They think that acceptance means compliance.
We're so wanting to be accepted and belong to others. I think that's where the issue comes in because we want people to accept us. And when they don't, then we're feeling like, oh, something's wrong with me and I'm going to have to change in order for these people to adapt in order for me to adapt to these people or for these people to like me. And that's just not the case. You don't have to change yourself in order for others to like you. If you stay true to who you are, you will attract people who love you.
I accept that a fly is in the room and I'm going to swat it.
Exactly.
Bottom line.
Well, yeah. So you accept what is. That's all you do.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a fly and I'm going to swat that fucker.
But don't change who you are just to fit a mold of somebody's perception of you.
Acceptance doesn't necessarily mean that, and this kind of goes into perspective as well because people have this perspective about acceptance.
Exactly.
They think that if that means that I have to take the abuse, I have to be the victim. So they don't want to accept it. So then they go the opposite way and then they become the victimizer or they become very mean and hateful and rude and I'm not accepting this, so they don't know how to find that middle ground. They don't know how to, it is what it is. This is a phone, period. Okay, you can't make it into a radio. Well, yours is probably good. Okay, you can't make it into a coffee cup.
Yeah.
Okay, it's radio. It's used for a radio. You use it for a radio. That's it. Okay, so as far as that's what it is. Now, if you're pissed off that it's not a coffee cup, get over it. Okay, and go get yourself a coffee cup. I mean, come on. I mean, this is the part that just really, like, I think that people just have a really hard time with their perspective about acceptance
I
is
think
so
that's what it
completely
is.
off.
It is.
It's like I have to be a victim, so I can't. I'm not
So this
accepting
person
that.
can accept me, right?
Right.
I have to have abuse so this person could accept me. I have to not be myself so this person could accept me.
Or I have to be accepting to be spiritual, so that means that I have to take the abuse.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I'm saying it's a fly, swat it. That accept the fact that it's a fly. Okay, so you and I were having a conversation on my drive over here, and I was talking about this person did this and this person did that. I'm like, oh my god, I'm blocking people every day. You wouldn't believe what he said. And the thing is that here's my perspective. That was a fly.
Yeah.
I had to swat it. Block. Boom.
Done, right?
Yeah, done.
Yeah.
Okay. I accept the fact that people are crazy and that they're getting crazier and crazier right now.
Yeah, it's a sick, sad world, like I
Yeah.
told you before, and it's unfortunate. So why would you want to be like those people? Like, why would you want to be sick and sad? I mean, you have to follow your own path and know that what's right for you is right for you, and don't change who you are to fit any kind of mold to be accepted. Because accept yourself first. Because obviously you haven't done that. If you're looking for somebody else to accept you, then you haven't accepted yourself.
So that brings up a really good point. Is going back, kind of keeping this on perspective, is you can have the perspective of acceptance, the perspective of sabotage, the perspective of what type of mother you are, the perspective of being a victim versus a victimizer. There's so many different ways that you can look at this, but if you alter your perspective, guys, if you alter the way that you look at things, then you can make your life a lot less painful.
That's true.
It's really about choosing the way that you want to look at things to either cause you pain or not cause you pain. So I can take everything that's happened to me with all these crazy people attacking me, like really bad, and just get really down about it and say, obviously it's because I'm not viewed the way I want to be viewed, or nobody's really understanding me. I don't really have a voice. I really can't help people. I could go down that road.
You can.
And that's the perspective that I can take because of a few people. Or I can say, that was a fly. I'm going to swat it.
And that brings up a point of not reacting the same way that you always do to a certain situation, because that will help rewire your mind in a sense. So if you always dealing with the parent or whatever, and your dad always makes you mad, why go down that path with him? Try a different route to get to him. There's ways that you can, I guess, change someone's perception of you by taking another action. Because once you do that, they're not going to want to, come at you the same way they have before, because you're coming at them differently. So it is really truly a work of art to continue to be aware of that, because you don't want to engage in the same, I guess, behavioral patterns.
Yeah.
And you want to kind of change yourself in a way that you're aware of what you're doing. Because a lot of people do things unconsciously. And so you find yourself in these situations or things like that because you're not even thinking consciously what you're doing.
Right. Hey, Alyssa's on here.
Ah.
Say hi to Alyssa.
Hi, Alyssa. Hi, Lady Teresa and Rhonda. Thanks for saying hello.
Yeah. So, so she said, let's see what Alyssa said. She gave us some hearts. And she said, my purpose in life is to be an influencer of love, happiness, and deliberate creation.
That is so true.
I love that. And she's like that, right?
Yeah, she is.
She comes across like all like, oh, that's so beautiful.
She is full of love.
How she does that?
Yeah.
She's like, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, she does.
So
And that's
cool,
what I'm
honey.
saying. Just her
Yeah.
energy alone is just so great and positive. And so when she's around anybody, you can just feel that that's who she is.
Yeah, and so that's her purpose. I mean, you don't have to go and change your career, You can just be...
But she can touch others from where she is.
Right, exactly, exactly. So what other things that do you feel like that people are struggling with when it comes to perspective?
Just acceptance. I think acceptance, awareness, you have to be aware when you're facing certain situations that are challenging to you and how you react to them. Once you are aware of your baseline behavioral patterns, then from there you can kind of make those adjustments and not put yourself in those situations too, you can avoid them.
You know, I was just thinking about something. Here's a different way of using perspective on pain that we've gone through. I just thought about this. You know how people go to war and they fight and then they come back and they have like battle wounds and tattoos and all kinds of stuff and they're all like proud of it. Like, oh, I got this bullet right here in this battle and I got this scar here from this battle, and they're like all their battle wounds are super proud of. Or they go and get tattoos, because of what they did in some war or something, right? So it's super proud. So why can't our battle wounds, our emotional battle wounds, be something our scars?
Because people don't want to go through the bad; they just want all good.
Well,
that's what the issue is.
I know, but
So,
this is
and that's not how life works,
right? But I'm saying, why can't we change that? Why can't we see it as like a battle?
I see it as
an
a positive
emotional,
thing.
as an emotional battle wound that I'm proud of. I overcame a divorce. I overcame an abusive husband. I overcame, struggling trying to get my business to work. I overcame learning how to build a website. I overcame having a friend ditch me. I have overcame all these abusive talks.
I think it's great. Think about it though. If you have more trial and tribulations in your story, you have a better book to write. If your life was all good and comfortable, nobody was going to want to read that. You have to keep that in perspective. That's the reason why we go through these challenges in life, is to make us better. And you want a better story, so embrace those challenges, because guess what? There's room for growth. And that can enhance your story. So if you want to write a book about yourself, guess what? People are going to pick that up because it's going to be a bestseller, because everything that you overcome, because people like to hear about overcoming adversities. And if you rose to the occasion and overcame something that was a challenge to you, whether it was starting your business, whether it was leaving an abusive relationship, or whether it was just, getting through raising your kids, people want to hear your story, and they want to hear about anything that you overcame. So if you have nothing to talk about, if you didn't overcome anything, your life.
So you're basically saying be a role model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, embrace your challenges, embrace the adversities that happen in your life,
and
because
see what you learned from it. And
because there's your time to grow.
As your battle wound.
Yeah.
I did this. I overcame this.
And be like, man, I'm so much stronger today because I did this, and you just
exactly.
You have to reflect back on those times where you overcame a challenge and you came out so much better because of it. Celebrate those things.
So this. I love this. This is it. Overcome the challenge, and see it as a battle wound that you're proud of.
Exactly.
That should be like everybody's motto.
Yeah, but everybody likes to stay safe and insulated, and I don't want anything to happen to me.
Oh my God, I got hurt. Oh my God.
All right,
oh
the
my God,
sensitive.
Oh, la da da. Oh my God.
Just roll over and die now if you're sensitive, because life is going to take you by storm, honey. So you need to buckle up,
That is so funny. All right.
Let's have a client, so I'm gonna have to run, y'all.
Oh, okay. So go ahead and leave.
Yeah. But thank you so much for allowing me to speak today, and I hope to be back on soon.
Okay, you guys. So we're gonna talk about the next assignment. I will. Good luck. Who are you seeing? Are you seeing Amy today? Oh, okay. Okay. Tell Amy I said hi. Hey, will you do me a favor and just shut the door so that she doesn't hear me through the walls? Okay. All right, you guys. Oh, okay. So, all right. So we have a couple of things. Your next assignment. Okay. So your next assignment is we're going to be listening to a new audio. Okay. And I will be pasting the link in the comments. Okay. So I'll also do a separate post where I say day 2 assignment. Okay. So what I want you guys to do is, this particular one is about creating a new reality. So in this particular audio, what you're going to do is, it's a little longer. I think it's like 35 minutes-ish, something like that. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be working towards creating a new reality, okay? Which means like altering your perspective, choosing a different pathway. If you do the same things over and over again, you're always going to get the same results. So this particular one is a real visual audio, okay? It's really cool. It's also one of my favorites, and you're going to love it. Okay, so the question is, what color mirror did you choose? And so that's the question. And so if you watch it, you'll know. Watch it, listen to it. Okay, so the audio is, like I said, it's about 30 minutes. So what you're going to do is you're going to listen to it. You can listen to it once, and then the one that I gave you yesterday, which is the releasing, you're going to listen to it 2 times. So you're still going to have 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening. So what I suggest is that you pick a time when you have a little bit more time, 30, 45 minutes to do the new reality thing, and really have some quiet. Make sure you're wearing earbuds or earphones and you're not driving, and just totally relax. It's a beautiful session. You'll love it. So where it's a new reality, and you're going to listen to that 1 time, and then you're going to listen to the releasing 2 times. So we're really trying to release those blocks, okay? So we're going to listen to that twice. So it's 3 times. So 1 for the new reality, just listen to it once, and then twice for the blocks, okay? Hopefully you got that. You're going to listen to the releasing the blocks 2 times today, and the new reality 1 time. So you're still listening 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, evening. Pick a time when you have some time. It doesn't really matter. And that is your challenge. And the question is, what color of a mirror did you choose? Okay. All right. So you guys, super excited about everything. This is going super well. I hope you enjoyed talking to Portia. She's awesome. Thank you, Teresa, for joining in and making all the comments. I really appreciate it. Alyssa, I don't know if you're still here or not. Love you, honey. You should be coming in here and let's do a show together as well. And because your perspective on things is so loving and gentle, that I think people would really like to see. Now, this is a 5-day challenge. So if you're going to do this with me, Alyssa, you need to be here like in the next couple of days. Okay. So text me and let's talk about that. Okay. You guys, love you all, and y'all have a fabulous day. Remember to always be the light, not the candle. Okay, for you newbies that have never seen me or talked to me before or heard this, I say this all the time. A candle can be blown out. You take a candle, somebody comes over, like that, it's gone. And think about how many times that somebody else has blown out your candle. Okay? You want to be the light. And somebody can go like this, like the light's on right now, nothing happens, right? That's who you need to be. So what we do is we change our perspective, we become an optimist, we remove our blocks, and we create a new reality, okay? This is the things that we're doing, okay? And you can change you. It's just by stepping it up and making that difference in your life, okay? It's about choosing a different direction. So let's get started on this. I'm waiting for your responses. The first person that gets the color of the mirror that they choose, that PMs me, remember PM me, do not put it on the post, it gets an additional point. Okay? Ready, set, go!